Hi guys, Mr. K here, back with another video. Hope you're all doing well. Today we'll be reviewing the Nacon Compact Gaming Controller in 2021 to see if it's actually worth it. But before we get into the main video, I'd just like to say please consider liking and subscribing and supporting the channel, because my goal for the end of November is 200 subscribers and I could really appreciate it if you guys could make this happen. But nevertheless, let's get into the main video to see if it's actually worth it in 2021. Starting off with the specs of this device, it's £40, so it is on the budget end of controllers out there. Usually controllers range from 50 to 60, so this is really a change in price in the controller market, especially for PlayStation. It's 15% smaller than the original PlayStation controller. As you can see, it does look quite a bit smaller. It's bigger in the middle and much thinner on the sides. It weighs 11.9 ounces, so this is actually heavier than the original PlayStation controller, but it is quite a bit smaller. If you guys didn't know, it's actually a wide controller and the wire length is 3 meters. As you can see, 3 meters is quite a good length. For a wide controller, you do have a lot of room to move in. Although it is based off the PlayStation controller, it does have some slight alterations to the button layout, but nothing dramatic that makes you feel like it's actually a completely new controller. It's pretty similar, just a little bit of movement with the main touchpad. And the final spec before we get into the beefy part of the review is the fact that it has much clickier buttons than the original DualShock 4 controller. But yeah, it's time to get into the main part of the review. Pros, cons, and then my overall conclusion. First positive of this device, as I've previously said, it is a budget controller and it's heavily in the budget market. At the highest point where you can buy this for, it's up to £40, but you can find it much lower than this, sometimes even up to £24. But even though it's such a budget product, that doesn't mean you actually lose out in quality. I've actually reviewed a different wireless controller that was based for PlayStations, the Razer Raiju, and the response time from moving my controller to the screen is pretty much the same, perfect, and I see no problems with the quality of this device either. It feels high quality, it doesn't feel too plasticky. The next positive is the fact that personally, I feel like this is a very comfortable controller, especially for someone with big hands like mine. It really helps me wrap my hands around the controller. This controller is basically a mix of a PlayStation and Xbox controller, because usually I like controllers that have a little bit more width to them so I can grasp my hand around it and I won't get cramps as much because I'm spreading out my fingers. And that's not the only reason why it's so comfortable. Another reason why it's just so comfortable is because it's just a matte texture and it's actually really nice to the touch, and sometimes when I even stroke it, it's actually satisfying.
What did he say?
But that is actually typical of any matte material and just a really comfortable thing to have while gaming. Speaking about the finish on this controller, it has actually multiple different colors of finishes. It has the army colors, different army colors. It has full colors like teal. All of these different colors that you couldn't actually get on the DualShock 4, you can get on this. And if you have a gaming setup that is actually based around the color such as teal, pink, purple, something like that, you can actually get these controllers to match up with that. And this is something that you wouldn't be able to get on the actual original PlayStation controller unless you pay an extra price for another external company to do this. And pretty much the final positive before we get into the negatives of this device, things I didn't like, is the fact that when I press this controller, it's louder. It gives me more acknowledgement when I press the button and it feels better. Usually I like clicky things because it gives me acknowledgement that I'm shooting a shot or something like that. But that's just my preference. Some people might like more quieter gaming controller, but I like something that's really noisy. It just helps me with the immersion because I know I'm pressing a button properly. It just gives me that higher quality of immersion that I wouldn't get on the DualShock 4. But now it's time for negatives, things I didn't like about this controller and reasons you shouldn't buy it in 2021. The first negative is the fact that it's not very durable. About 5 or 10 drops from about waist height to knee height and it's probably going to break. Unfortunately, this is actually my second controller from Nacon's compact line. Because after quite a few drops, my L1 actually stopped working. That may be down to my inability to keep things from falling, but it's still something to think about and be careful because it does break. The quality is not built as highly as the original PlayStation controller, so you do need to be careful of this. The next negative is the fact that it kind of feels like a toy. I know I said it does feel high quality. Most of the weight is actually placed in the center of this device, which is cool, but the sides are pretty much hollow. Usually I prefer the weight to be on the sides of it because it just gives me a better grip, makes me hold my controller better. And usually when I have weighted sides like this, usually I just feel like I perform just much better in games anyway when I have this. But this is just something for Nacon to improve on or something for you guys to think about. But it just depends on your preference. If you guys like a more weighted controller or if you guys are like a light controller that doesn't really feel like anything on the sides. And now it's time to get into the final negative before we get into the conclusion of this device. The final negative is the fact that, as you know, it's a USB controller. So I'll need to plug it into my PlayStation. But this is annoying when you have a wireless mic and external storage because the wireless microphone needs to be plugged in to the PlayStation. Personally, I use the Eska E910 gaming headsets. If you want to watch that video, it's up here somewhere. And I also used the Toshiba extended storage. If you also want to watch that video, it's up here somewhere. But basically, these both take up a USB port. So I have no space for this. So it's going to make me purchase another dongle so I just have extra USB ports. So if you're someone that has both of these, you actually need to rethink your decision because I forgot about that and now this is just a really annoying thing. I can't use my mic while playing games because I forgot about this. So you guys just make sure that if you have both of these things, just be a little careful. But now it's time for the conclusion. See if it's really worth it in 2021. In conclusion, I would actually highly recommend this gaming controller. It's fun to use, it has a great shape, I don't get cramps with it, I can play it for quite a long period of time. Unfortunately, I can't put my grips on there. I usually have gamer grips, unfortunately I can't put that on there. But it still does have inbuilt grips. But I would recommend this, especially for someone in the budget gaming market. And yeah, that's my review. If you guys would consider liking and subscribing, I really appreciate it. Any questions, just put it down in the comments. I'll be happy to reply to them. And yeah, it's been your boy Mr. K. Thanks for watching and bye.